Do y'all remember in the early 2000s when Will Ferrell became one of the biggest names in all of comedy? I know that when I go on Facebook and there's posts like an actor you absolutely cannot stand or a comedian you don't find funny at all, Will Ferrell appears in a lot of people's opinions of comedians that they hate and stars that they do not like. And I'm really surprised about that because, yeah, when Ferrell ended up doing Alpha and Old School in 2003, that really, like, of course he did SNL in the 90s and early 2000s too, but, you know, he did end up becoming one of the biggest comedians in the world. And it wasn't until the early 2010s that I guess you could say he became a has-been. But personally, I do still have a soft spot for some Will Ferrell films. Enter today's review, which is Blades of Glory from 2007. So Blades of Glory is a sports comedy film, and it came out 1 year after Will Ferrell did Talladega Nights, the Ballad of Ricky Bobby. So yeah, Blades of Glory, as you may have guessed, it's about figure skating because, you know, blades, skates. And his co-star in the film is John Heder, who's best known for doing Napoleon Dynamite. And when the movie came out, you really got to see not just Ferrell's comedy skills, but there's also some good serious moments. There's some sentimentality, and there's a lot of love in this film. A lot of like just a sheer enjoyment without making things too lowbrow and without making things very stupid. Even though Will Ferrell's character in the movie is a dumb guy, he doesn't really drag the movie down to just stupid lows and ridiculous lows and like very, very absurdly stupid humor. So the movie deals with these two big named figure skaters who are Will Ferrell and John Heder. And, you know, they've been rivals for quite a few years. And eventually they end up getting into this big fight after tying one day. And they get stripped of their gold and banned from their respective divisions forever. A few years later, both men who are has-beens end up realizing that the only way for them to continue doing the thing that they love in any sort of respectable capacity is to do pair skatings. So, of course, when they announced that they're going to be skating as pairs, there's all this homophobic slurs, all this shock value that's happening. People are calling them gay and everything. But what ends up happening is that there's this really nice friendship that's formed between these two former enemies. And also, there's a subplot with Will Arnett and Amy Poehler where they try to overthrow Ferrell and Heder because, you know, they're jealous and yeah. So, yeah, the movie actually does have some actual tender moments, some actual funny moments, lots of love, lots of enjoyment, and yeah, for some odd reason, I really gravitated towards this film, probably more than I should have. Like, I really don't know why I did gravitate towards this as much as I did. But, yeah, like, okay, how many comedies have there been that are funny, are really lovely, are really, really enjoyable, but they're not as disposable as this one? Well, there's probably lots, but yeah, as I said, for some reason, I really gravitated towards Blades of Glory. No, it's not a masterpiece, but when I first saw this when I was only 12 years old, still I was just very, I just loved it. All my subsequent viewings, they have not changed at all. So yeah, even though Farrell and Heater are has-beens, I really do think that Blades of Glory, at least in my own eyes, very, very worth 3.5 stars out of 4.